Hi, good afternoon. I'm Rishi Pathania. I'm heading the CSR function for UBL Group, and as a important thematic focus, livelihood is an important thematic focus for us. And that's the reason I'm here.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Mahinda Punwani. I represent a pharma company called Blue Cross Laboratories, and we're interested in dealing with healthcare, education, and skill development, and that's why I'm here.
Hi, I'm Manjula, and I'm a trainer in textiles and entrepreneurship and grassroots people for CSR and various activities.
Hello, I'm Ashish Garde. I'm associated with Asta Foundation, which works for senior citizens, issues connected with senior citizens.
Hi, I'm Prachi. I've come from Mahir Foundation. I conduct skill development programs in hospitality and healthcare sectors. And in addition to that, I'm conducting research to understand the issues of resource mobilization to get people inducted to the skill development programs.
Good afternoon, I'm Dr. Ravi Kumar. I am from an NGO called Freedom for You Foundation. We are working in basic and lifestyle skills. We are also into disaster management training programs. We have conducted more than in various schools and colleges. Besides, where we do it free of cost. And for corporates, we do a lot of work on this emergency medical rescue systems and disaster management and so many other activities related to the corporates where we charge. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Ravi number 2, and I'm from CCS, Center for Civil Society, which is a think tank based in Delhi. We are into education, livelihood and multiple verticals. In Bombay, we have initiated a voucher-based skill development program, which is first of its kind, where we are handing out vouchers to students to get trained in any skill of their choice, which gives them an option of choice. So I guess we'll put on more on that. Thank you for that.
Hello, I'm Vanmala. I run a NGO called Kaprakavi Foundation, where we, since I'm a ceramist, I only teach pottery and a few other crafts to school dropouts and women in the slums of Bombay.
Hello everybody, I'm Milind Kulkarni. I represent an organization called ISS Facility Services. We are into providing services for facility management, like buildings and etc. And the main reason for me to being here is, as we are also dealing with a lot of people like the housekeeping, cleaning services, etc. And we have our training institute. So we are looking at how we can impart people the trainings and to make them a livelihood out of that. Thank you.
I'm Rupali here from IDOBRO, and yeah, basically trying to connect you all for skill development livelihood.
I'm Shrutika Karanje from Pipal. I'm a corporate communication executive.
Hi, I'm Santosh from People Tree Ventures, and I'll just quickly update you on what People Tree does. Frankly, in 2007, when we started the organization, we started it mainly to create livelihood for the rural youth across India, poor rural youth across India. And our aim was to take the school dropouts and give them employment with the construction industry, because that is where their profile is most suitable for. However, when we train the large number of people across India and then we try to place them in the construction industry, we realize that in construction industry there are no organized jobs which are available. Means what it means is construction industry works as a contracting, subcontracting and subcontracting basis. So because of that, eventually all the people which we trained, they will be working with the petty contractors. So they won't be having provident fund, they won't be having uniforms. No one will take care of their food, accommodation, timely payment of salary and all the other issues. So we said that this can't work. We have to change this model with which construction industry is working. So we said we have to change it ourselves. And for that reason, then we decided to become a contractor for the construction companies. So by way of which we work as a contractor, giving the value to the construction company. At the same time, we provide all our social obligations towards the youth which we are training. Over 7 years, we have really gone ahead, and today we are preferred contractor for Tata Housing. We are constructing buildings for Tata Housing in near Ahmedabad as well as in Mumbai, where our students trained by us are doing it full-fledged. We are doing painting jobs for Asian Paints, so our boys are doing painting for Asian Paints. We are constructing buildings for Shapurjis. We are doing plumbing, painting, tiling work for Lodhas, and most of the large construction companies, our students are doing that. And while doing that, we are ensuring that all the social well-being of the students which are trained by us is already met. Our presence is unfortunately not much in Maharashtra, because there are gentlemen from MSRM. So we are not very active in Maharashtra. For specific reason is because we saw much more demand for these things in other states. So we have our presence in Bihar, large presence in Bihar. We have large presence in, as Mr. Punwani knows, they are helping me in Bihar also. So we are large presence in Bihar. We are presence in Uttar Pradesh, Odisha, Andhra Pradesh and West Bengal. We intend to start in Assam, Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh, so that we plan to cover most of the poorest states of this country. We might look at some part of Maharashtra, which is a really needy part, and we are just hoping we will grow faster, and because there is real need of such initiative across India.
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. Myself Jayashree from Karm. We worked in Thane and Maharashtra on the Women's Empowerment Program, basically mobilizing the resources of the farmers and trying to develop the giving the skills to the farmers groups, and our main aim is to generate the income from the whatever resources they do have, and we want to make India is biggest agricultural industry, so we want to move them with the help of all these youths, women in this country. So I am definitely saying we have a good networking and we could do the best in this forum.
Hi, good afternoon. I am Rajiv. I represent an organization called Yuva Parivartan. We are into vocational training of rural youth, mainly focus on school dropouts. After giving them short-term training, we also provide them placements.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Sanjay. I represent Shanti Life India Foundation. We are a small microfinance organization where we provide revolving funds to NGOs, and in turn, these are provided to women per se. The loan is in the name of the woman and she repays back. The two focus areas that we concentrate on is very micro businesses, where the loan is between 5 and 10,000 rupees, and we provide a loan to build, construct a toilet and a bathroom.
There were a few others who came in late. Hello? Yeah. Can you introduce yourselves, Vig?
Myself, Pranita Mane, from College of Agriculture, Baramati. I'm working as an assistant professor over there in agriculture economics subject. I'm teaching to BSc Agri students. And at the same time, I'm placement coordinator also. So I would like to listen which kind of skills and developments, personality development, we could inculcate in the students. Thank you.
Myself, Sonali Saste. I'm also from College of Agriculture, Baramati. I'm teaching them the biotechnology subject, and I'm here to listen from all you expertise, your opinions.
Hello, I'm Madhuri. I'm an assistant professor in Agricultural Development Trust. I'm teaching for the IT students. Thank you.
Thank you all. I'll just spend a few minutes to recap what was discussed at the last roundtable to give you an idea of where we were. So in the last roundtable, basically the same issue of livelihood and skill development was discussed. And it was started off with, let's define first what do we mean by a skill and what do we mean by livelihoods. So people spent a fair amount of time discussing the two issues, and they reflected on the hard skills and the soft skills that people had to be trained in. And they found that even those who had hard skills training found it very difficult to either get jobs or to earn a livelihood because they lacked the soft skills. So people spoke about the need for training both in hard skills and soft skills. The other aspect that was discussed was the whole issue of livelihood and what really is livelihood. So that was also debated by the crowd, and the key issue came up, is livelihood just earning a living? Or does it go beyond earning a living? And the other issues discussed in terms of what is livelihood was, is earning a living from the skill set that you don't want to possess but must use because that's what's available? Or is it that earning a living with something that's more relevant and localized? People, of course, spoke from their experiences and also spoke about the mismatch between the skills that were being imparted or the training being imparted for various skills and the actual market for those skills. And people raised issues saying that they have recognized that because a skill training organization has trained itself or has got an agenda that these are the skills I have got expertise in, so I'm going to put those skills out into that area. Whether the skills are required or not, or whether they're appropriate or not, was something that they really didn't consider. And so many of the people who did get those skills had to migrate, move out of their location and get jobs elsewhere because the local market didn't require it, and they had this Now this migration also led to other consequences because of the fact that people moved out, and it altered the local economy of where they were, and of course it created the consequent migratory challenges. Some people raised issues of skill development itself and said, when's the right time to be giving people training? So some people said, you know, when they're too old and you start giving them skills, it's a little late in life. Some people said the best time to do it is straight after school. So this issue was also debated in terms of timing of the skill training. Another issue that was raised was that some of the NGOs that worked in the village felt that, you know, we go there and we train and we impart skills, but people are not motivated to take up jobs after they are skilled because they're getting freebies in the form of Narega employment and other alternatives. So, you know, thanks for the training, but I'm not really keen to work. And that was a challenge some of the NGOs faced. Some of the NGOs that dealt with women's issues found that after they trained them up, their family didn't allow them to work. So there were lack of support systems that existed. And some NGOs that trained women in enterprise found it even more difficult to get them to the marketplace. One of the NGOs that dealt with Narega and providing labor to Narega felt that Narega was too narrow in its focus and they only wanted unskilled labor, and why not Narega spread its scope to include skilled labor as well. Professor Prasad from NITI raised this issue where he said, you know, NGOs come in and people come in and they provide skills, they provide enterprise training, and some of them even make very good products, NGOs. But what they lack is the market linkage, and they're unable to get those very good products to the market, whether it's by way of skills or whether it's by way of hard products. And he said it's very important to actually develop the market linkages if your project has to be successful. The issue of technology was also touched upon, and the role of technology in skill development and in livelihoods in particular. And they said there are now newer technologies which are very enabling. So it enables new possibilities for training, training methodologies, and for new jobs. At the same time, there are certain technologies which have come in and are actually depleting traditional skills. So both these issues were raised. We concluded, or last session that concluded, I didn't attend it, was the whole issue of partnerships. So the essence of the round tables, basically besides discussing various issues, is to really put partnerships on the table. Because each of us who are coming here, now you've come from Baramati and you said, you know, I really want to understand what are the soft skills that are available or what are other resources available. Now, sir, you're from Blue Cross, you mentioned, and you're already doing work. Your organization is doing work. People Tree is doing work. So the question is, what is it that around this table we can create in terms of concrete partnerships to take it forward, in addition to discussing issues that you may want to share from your own experiences? Last year the session ended, and little time was spent on saying, what are the partnerships that could look at. So Godrej representatives stood up and said, in our furniture division, we are generating a lot of scrap. And that scrap is just getting sold by Vajan. Is there any way that some NGO could come in and say, we can create value out of that scrap? Either create art, create some other form of work that will add value to that scrap. And interestingly, at the roundtable, there were people who said, wow, that's just what we do. We help youngsters to come in, take scrap, and create magic out of it. Art pieces which have a greater value. So they connected. There was an organization which was in healthcare for the elderly, Ajicare. And Ajicare needed trained health workers or people in geriatric care. And there was another organization, Yuva Parivartan, who said, we train people. So again, there was an exchange of interaction with them. Now, of course, really, except for the Godrej interaction, which was tracked by IDO-BRO, there was no further tracking. So really, what came off the interactions at that last round table is not available to anyone. So the point is, what we felt was, there's no point in us only having this discussion, exchanging notes, and each one exchanging their experiences, and then we meet the next year and discuss it all again. Is there a possibility that IDO-BRO can facilitate, catalyze, track, monitor what partnerships are springing up here, and then see if we can just really support it, nudge it through, and take it through some concrete development so that when we meet the next year, it's heartening and encouraging to see that, yes, this conference did produce some collaborative ventures which resulted in X or Y. So earlier this afternoon when I was talking to Santosh, and Santosh does 10,000 workers get trained every year. ISS employs 60,000 people in facility skills. Now, is it possible that there are certain skill sets developed by People Tree which is not offered by ISS because they don't have access to those skilled workers? So is there a possibility that they can collaborate such that ISS, because of its global reach, is able to offer a service which meets their quality standards and take it significantly forward? Is there a possibility that around this table we can create a new model for collaborative partnership which says, should we target 100,000 jobs by 2020? And is that really tangible? Is it feasible? And what would it take us around this table to debate and discuss it and say, yes, we can do it, and this is what I can bring to the table or to the party. So this is basically a summing up of last year's, some of the reactions to it. And now I'll just throw the floor open if anyone wants to, and I hope you want to share some of your own experiences, and what is it that you would like to discuss. So we can spend the next 10 minutes where you're only flagging what you would like to put on the table, and then we can mutually discuss and then go ahead with the discussion on it. Yeah?
As you said that nothing much has happened after that. Most of the time it doesn't happen.
Okay, so emails, connections, details will be exchanged. Two, there are chat rooms downstairs. So you can just exchange cards and say, we go down and have a chat room session. So you could one-on-one discuss with people. And in any event, all contact details will be exchanged. Yeah? You may not get time to do a detailed discussion, but at least you can exchange cards and know I have to get through to X, Y, or Z. Yeah? Okay. Anyone else would like to share an experience, flag a thought?
I have a suggestion, sorry. You know, there is one.
save time. So people can put their cards up here and we can exchange cards. Yeah? Okay, I'm putting up my cards to start with. Yep.
The basic gap between the skill and the product is very much lacking in the rural sector, and there are people who are working in bamboo, grass, palm, and when I was going to a place in Wardha where there's a Gandhian movement very strong still in that area, they have a museum. It's just a place of skill sets in display. But they are not expressed. They become like antique. So there are many self-help groups which are already working, but they have no expression in the urban consumer market. And the gap which is there is the awareness also in the urban consumer area. So there is an awareness which is required here, and there is a sensitization in terms of expression, which is lacking in that sections. And probably some things could be just innovative. When I went to a village in Mangrua in Gonaha block in West Champaran, I saw that they were making very beautiful mud walls with beautiful upraised designs. And many of people in Mumbai and many in metros too would like to have their walls painted in a very ethnic way. So this is something which they won't realize, that they have a skill which could be expressed. But here we know we could do something with that. We need to make a connection between urban awareness here and the possibility of their skills to be expressed in a certain way. And there are many things on food processing, medicinal plants. There are already many government agencies working there. There's a CMAP, Central Institute of Medicine and Aromatic Plants, which give you training to all the farmers as to how they can grow medicinal plants and then convert them into oils, aromatic oils, and even give them a market and give them a distillation plant, help them set up, and so that they can actually earn a decent income out of it. The more the processing becomes, the value increases multifold. So the only expression is from raw to a finished and a processed product, which probably a lot of technological and professional guidance is lacking input. And if resource-wise we can map, if bamboo, grass, palm have a central research wing and a product design program that can go to all places where there are bamboo as a resource, and the skills can be mapped with the resources accordingly, and a corresponding economic zone could be created around that resource. In that way, the resource will be respected, the tradition will be respected, the employment will be local, the migration will reduce, and probably the youngsters in the village will get an entrepreneurial angle than just to work on a labor basis in the cities. So that's what is the proposal here, is to how can we map resources, skills, and profession inputs to make a product which is very much appreciated in urban sections. Probably even exports could be looked up in that area too. I mean, we have to explore all these possibilities and maybe interact with communities. Maybe a particular community of Rajasthan or Bihar can actually map with the artisans in Bihar and accordingly give them the community connect. And how can we involve various talent and skills and professional expertise here and around to map resources wise. So this could be a very, this is one of the suggestions I'd like to discuss.
What's your name? My name is Krishna Chaitanya. Okay. So Krishna Chaitanya has flagged a geographical area requirement and a vertical requirement. So in the interest of the group here, what would be necessary is that if you know of an agency who can be the nodal agency in that particular field and who says that I know agency X, they are on the ground and they need to access certain resources, and if there is a resource available here, we exchange notes as to how the resources could be matched up. In terms of a very generic need, I'm not sure that today we will be able to address a generic need. So if there are specific needs that people say, like you identify a specific need and say, yes, I know agency X in Champaran, they're looking out for a correspondent to market their perceived services, then yes, we should connect up with them. So we can exchange notes offline if you have specific, or you can share it with the group, because there are people who are in the market end. IDOBRO itself, they do that. Okay, so we can connect up with that. Anyone else would like to raise? Yeah.
Just one concern. We always talk about, the end users, in a sense, like say a dropout from, from a village or a urban slum and all that. My major challenge has been my trainers. We really don't look at the trainers per se. And that is a major challenge, because I believe that, training is a passion. I mean, anybody and everybody cannot do it. I mean, there's one way of, you teach me and I just sort of go down and do it, but the kind of people that we are dealing with, and that has been my major challenge. So nobody really focuses on training of, I've done a lot of training of trainers programs, but the moment people come in there, they say, "Yaar, content batao yaar, ye kya tum bakwas kar rahe ho yaar?" So I always say content could be anything. I mean, you could take from HIV to agriculture, but how do you sort of get your participants to buy into it and, sort of, because they are again, going down and, so that is something that we really honestly need to flag. And I mean, I've been battling myself.
Since you have people in this area, would you like to?
Yeah. Shall I add?
Sanjay's challenge.
I'm not responding to. I would like to add to one more challenge. So, am I permitted? Okay.
Your name?
I'm Ravi Naise. I'm from Ambuja Cement Foundation. Yeah. See, we are doing this skill training.
Just a second. We're just circulating these pink forms, so each one can just note down as someone is talking, who do you want to connect with. Okay? So just pass them down.
Present here, or maybe your wish list. You can do that. And your work, what you're doing, plus any project you want to collaborate with. Triangles are for the connects you want to know. The triangle one is for communicate. The pink one is to communicate your work.
If you want to share what you are doing, put it down on the pink paper.
one.
If you want to connect with anyone, put it on the
Yellow one.
triangle.
And this is for the project base.
So
if you want to collaborate for any particular project, yeah.
So if any of you have a project and you want to collaborate, fill up this one. Can I see? Okay, going down.
Just take one and pass that. Yeah. You want the pink one?
Yeah. So, shall I pose my concern? By the time it will get circulated, these circles and triangles. This pink one is to express our work, and this is for project. Okay, yeah, clear. See, basically we are all are doing this into this skill training basically to improve the placement opportunity or to make the youth employable. In doing so, many times we realize that many agencies has a placement requirement, and as per their requirement, at times we train or develop our curriculum as per that. But see, the challenge is basically beyond that. Maybe retention is a major challenge, because see, once they got placed after working, because if the environment doesn't suits to their condition or upbringing, so they try to come back. They are always intention, and parents are also willing to call them back to home. Ki, ghar pe aa jaye, it is better. Even if they could not able to save, because saving is must, because they are going for that purpose only. So this is one more criteria that has to be included, where I think this potential employer, they have to play a role. They can facilitate the process, facilitate the better environment, maybe of living, maybe of fooding, maybe of their health, maybe of further fine tuning their skills, particularly soft skills. So that aspect is also an important, where employer can play an important role of facilitator, because we are training, we are taking a lot of effort, mobilizing them, taking them to our training centers, putting our efforts, and all things goes west if they don't retain in the job. So the employer, I think this aspect has to be also looked upon.
Obviously, as he said, that if someone wants to collaborate, then that is what I think we are looking at. So what I am saying is, especially from your Ambuja Cement thing, already Ambuja Cement, your Odisha centers, okay, they got in touch with us, and we have already offered them, if you are training people in the construction industry, okay, especially masonry, steel fixing, those type of school dropouts, and if you are looking for a good employer, you are always welcome to collaborate, and we already have sent our person to talk to them. So from the construction industry, if you have trained people, and certainly we take care of everything, provident fund, food, accommodation and all, and you can visit the sites and see also. Obviously they are not posh bungalows and all, but the standard living accommodation and all. So you can go and you can see, and you can send those students. We are already collaborating with Ambuja Cement in Odisha, and other places also we would be more than happy. I'll just take your question, sir. I don't understand. They just told me Ambuja. I got some mail, they read it about us from somewhere, and then he called. So our people are already collaborating. What I'm saying is that yes, because you have large number of construction people which you are training. That skill, that's what they told me. That's why I'm just mentioning. Sir, regarding you, I don't know, means where exactly your training thing comes in picture, because you are more in the microfinancing. Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Now we are taking very seriously. This has come from the
Okay.
Now we are very seriously thinking. That is why we are thinking whether we can train these women into masons.
Okay.
Then we have little more self-sufficient within our own.
I will tell you one thing. Okay, fine. Means I got confused because your business is microfinancing, and how did you get into training? But what I am saying is, because I just to add to what I said before, unfortunately I'm just, as collaboration, you said, you mentioned the collaboration, so I'm just mentioning. See, with Tata Housing, we have another partnership by way of which we are training almost 30,000 of their staff each year for Tata Housing, okay, on their site. And we have a different sort of training which we do for them, which is we train them, we record what we have trained, how it has improved their performance and all that. Okay. If there are such sort of large scale of opportunities which are there, certainly people like us can look at it. But if you are talking about very small scale, then it doesn't make much sense from our side. But I'm just offering that collaboration, and I'll hand it over to him.
Yeah, so I would just like to add here, for information of Santosh sir, that I was part of FANIT alumni. So we have been doing some work in Jharkhand also, and I also visited people tree centers in Gaya and another district of Bihar. Okay. So I particularly to address this gathering, I think let's focus on, sir has raised the issue of training women. There'll be some issues of training of farmers. But if you see the shift of our country for at least coming 5 to 10 years, is particularly on youth. So I would, because the time is too small, this hardly maybe 1 hour left. So I think the youth we can talk about. I'll just give you backdrop, because I had been working with a social enterprise who is into skill development, and sir, where our retention rate is almost 75%. Okay, so that is a very unique model we have developed in association with NABARD, and which is a residential skill training model, where the person, the youth who is coming in the age bracket of 18 to 35, he has to be ultra poor, not by color of his ration card, by visit to his house. Secondly, there is a huge efforts are taken on the expectation setting. So in our project, we were not marketing training as our product. Our product itself was a job. So we are selling only jobs, not training. So training is just a ladder to reach there, because his want is also job. He's not, had it been in training, he would have approached 10 more agencies in past. He has never approached anybody for training, but he has approached 100 people for some wages, livelihood, or some economical benefit to him and to his family. So I think that is where we should keep it on forefront, that
And when I say income, so if you go by in the government now, I'm with Maharashtra State Rural Livelihood Mission, and I'm heading the skills domain, skills and job vertical for state of Maharashtra in this mission. So there were the saga continues for last 30 years, where self-employment was the only thing which was to be banged on the villagers. And Professor Harper, if people know, he's a person who is, so he commented a very nice comment in last year Livelihood conference in Delhi. He said, all of us sitting here, 90% of them are employees to some organization. But when we go out, we feel 90 people should do their own businesses. So this is practically impossible. And the concluding slide in that conference, which is the only thing I remembered, there was a blank slide and written jobs, 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 jobs. 1,000 times it was written only jobs. And I was convinced. He said ki if you go to a poor farmer in any village and just ask him, ki boss, there is a 15,000 rupees monthly job for you in this village, would you continue or you will go for? He said, I'm leaving right now, I'm going for the job. So that guarantee, that assurity is not there by means of our provisions, or we are not developed up to that level. There are issues of rains, drought, etc. Okay, so that's why I'm saying ki jobs should take at least 60% priority. I'm not saying ki self-employment cannot. And the worst part of that, an 18-year boy, like the Rood City project, if people are aware about the R-City project, it's a good initiative. It's happening across the country. I have personally seen in 6 to 7 states. So there, 18-year-old boy comes, like he will become automobile mechanic, garage owner after 2 months. I can't digest this fact. I myself can't do this. After my engineering days, I have to go somewhere, at least 1 year, 2 years experience has to be there. So that is where we have bring in this marketing strategy. The parents will ask migration. Unfortunately, if you see our map of our country, this northeast and southwest divide, nobody of us or even Mr. Modi ji can do immediately something for that. So I'm saying ki there is no other option than migration. But the only small sentence I used to add in my counseling session with parents or mukhiyas or sarpanch of the villages, ki this person is going for 1 year training program. He will come back with an added skill, with some 70 to 80,000 of rupees to his family as an income. There will be a certification to his skill. He can come back and he can continue whatever he is doing right now. But when there is a need, if there is a drought, there is a flood, there is a crop issue, he can go back and welding, masonry, whatever he wants. And that is where I think many cases were getting closed. I used to give my example that I have studied for 21 years of my life, maybe more than that. Out of that, almost 8 to 10 years, I was not staying with my family. Means my parents were in Nasik, I was somewhere like that. So I'm saying ki for me it was 10 years, for your son it is only 1 year. For me there was no assurity whether there is a return, whether there is a job, but for your son everything is there. And everything was there in written format. We used to give everything on written. So I'm saying ki let's so focus on this youth jobs, and my sincere request to forums like this, to that industry participation has to be increased. The CII or kind of people should be there, at least 30 to 40% of this forum, because those are the people who are actually will be dealing with them and who need them. So I think only last one about these Ajivika skills. So after all this learning of last 20 years, government has come up with very comprehensive and detailed guidelines. There is a budget of almost 30,000 to 45,000 rupees for one person in the government kitty, and they are not talking about only training. The entire guidelines, it's a 60 pages document you can read in your leisure time. So it talks about the entire cycle from day 1 to at least 8 to 10 months after his placement also. Ajivika skills. Yeah. So I think that is where I'll stop, and maybe the next person can add.
Just taking it ahead because My name's Nikita. I'm sorry I joined late, so I might be a little repetitive. I'll just stand up. Just wanted to share a few experiences and get a few reflections because there's so many people that have worked in a similar space. I've worked in skill development in South Gujarat, in tribal areas, and seen a lot of projects, seen the government schemes and the models. Also done a project in urban areas with a startup. My reflection was, I'm involved with a higher secondary school also in tribal Gujarat. So they're the model of pre-vocational or introducing vocational skills at the school level in 8th, 9th, 10th. I know Maharashtra tried to support that. You know, they had a technical program by which the students could get an advantage into polytechnic admission after that. So in Gujarat, they don't have any direct support for that, but I have started implementing that in my school. And I don't know why, but I feel it is a very critical age to influence a child towards being open to this kind of skill-based livelihood or education. So wanted to understand if anybody has experimented with that and what their views are on that. I know the central government is pushing for that through a scheme, but I want to understand if you all have had experiences because I'm just in the nascent stage of exploring it in Gujarat, and how is it that it can be made most effective? And yeah, a few thoughts on that. And I have a few great examples of good organizations doing work in South Gujarat. But again, they focused on a lot of things which you mentioned as far as sourcing is concerned, as far as counseling is concerned, as far as in Gujarat, the model is that you anyways have to have, you know, a post-placement tracking for a year, etc. But they're doing it quite well. So, I mean, I'm kind of impressed with that, unless somebody has something else to comment on the Gujarat model. Just like some views. Thanks.
I'm from Gujarat, from Vapi, but I'll not comment right now. But I really want to flag off one more issue, maybe just to add on two issues already being brought to the table. I think one more challenge that we are facing right now is how to really create an aspiration for, again, for a blue-collar job. I think the biggest challenge for us now in field is the whole aspiration has shifted towards white-collar job. There was a beautiful article 4 or 5 days back in Times of India mentioning that if a person gets trained on an electric trade versus someone getting an engineering degree, they both will be at the same level after 10 years. So they both will be earning somewhere around 26 to 30,000. So it's not a case of return. It's not a case of livelihood security. I think it's a case of now, with my limited understanding, it's a case of an aspiration that has gone into the rural psyche. Now everyone wants a white-collar job, and I think it's a challenge. We really don't have that many number of white-collar jobs. We have jobs only around blue-collar. So how do you work around that? But the problem, Nikita, is we have created that aspiration. Now we are into a mess because we have created that aspiration with our all BPO models and all everything circulating. Now we are again going back and we are saying, boss, no. See, we started something called as Niyojani Kendra. The whole idea was you map a industry requirement and we were very successful. 100% placement, 100% good job, but you're not getting candidates. I think, but the challenge is again at a school level. We also have got a school level only. We have created a pattern where the whole focus is around white collar again. See, in the whole education pattern. So we are into a mess now because of the aspiration that we have created in the process.
There is a population in some millions which people will never go back to school now. So I think those are on priority. And obviously what you said is 100%. I have no faith in Maharashtra. But the priority should be given to these people who are school dropouts from last 5 to 7 years.
Okay. No, I think we just flag, each one is flagging their requirements. So you flagged yours. Just in response to yours, you must have interacted with Vigyan Ashram? Okay. Fine. So Vigyan Ashram is one of Maharashtra's projects that they're doing. Anything else? Anyone?
I would like to add
Okay.
something.
There are a lot of questions on the table, so I'm not going to pitch any questions out here. I would like to answer some questions. Okay. So the first question, which was flagged off by Sir, that there is a problem with retention and placement issues. Now, the first thing when it comes to skill development is it's not a domain where people do things which they should. Like, if I'm an engineer and I like to work with computers, I would like to have a training in computers, not in construction. So the problem is aspirations mismatch. What is available in the market, I mean, when it comes to job, what is the training which is given, and what is the aspirations of the person who is want to get trained. As Sir flagged off that the target segment from 18 to 30 is the most critical age scenario where person cannot get back to schools, but they want to get trained and take the livelihood and other things in front. Okay, so choice is the best option. Like the students or the candidates should be given choice to opt for the training which they feel that they are comfortable with. Else, if you give them training, even if you give them jobs, after a couple of months or years, they will realize that, okay, this is not fit for me. I'm not good in construction. I'm not good in electrician. I'm good in something else. So that's the problem here. First, choice. Second, the question was raised by this Sir that there is an issue or inclination towards white-collar jobs as compared to blue-collar jobs. Okay, the first problem is social acceptance. If a person is a welder or an electrician, people won't consider him like that a good person socially, or if a person is an engineer, if he doesn't have any job, he's an engineer, and this guy is an electrician. So that's a point of social acceptance. Second thing, when IT came in India, the number of IT engineers or people who were good in computers was very less. So people poured into IT. Now there is a saturation stage. The number of people who are in IT are like people who want to get into IT are more as compared to the number of jobs. And there is a lack of number of people in blue-collar jobs, or automobile, electrician, welding, and other stuff. So now what happens in US is, I'll give you an example, is the people who work in blue-collar jobs, they earn more as compared to the white-collar jobs, because the number of people working in blue-collar jobs are less, and it's a skill. Okay, there's no documentation or something like that. It's based on your experience and you have knowledge of welding or not. And that's not a one-day job. You have to, work as that skill for, okay. So that's what I want to, pitch in, that if a choice is given to every individual and based on the aspirations, and when it comes to blue collar and white collar, when the salary or other things, the perks offered are more, people will more incline towards blue collar job.
We are again talking of skill development and technicality. Probably we will be doing the same mistake what we did with our school and college education. So the focus which I am putting on is how do we bring the skills that a person can live life, which you mentioned in the first place, whether it's just earning living or something else. So I feel that productivity is a challenge in our country, whatever we do, individual productivity. And therefore, I feel that we need to bring a kind of a relevance to every individual, whether a white-collar job, blue-collar job, we're talking generally about the self-employed or something, that my contribution to the nation is as much as with whatever big group or corporate is concerned. And therefore, as he said, that the trainers need to first understand, and then we need to connect directly with every individual whom we are imparting training skill, that he or she is equally important, and his contribution will make a lot of difference, and therefore probably the potential on productivity will increase. I'm working on that line, and if any of the group here wants any batch to be trained, how do we bring this mindset? Whether I'm working as a self-employed, I'm a small person, somebody's engineer is a big person, how do we bring that life change? If anybody is interested in that, I'm ready to talk and work with that group. Thank you.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. Just a small introduction. I'm Paresh. I'm the senior manager from IMFPA, Mouth and Foot Painting Artists. I guess mostly everybody must be aware. So we provide self-employment opportunities for people with disabilities, and the organization is working for handicapped people with disabilities by hand, and we have presence in 80 countries. So in India, we still are a startup. We have 18 people who are the beneficiaries. So I'm talking from the social enterprise point of view. We provide them self-employment by creating art and creating sponsorship opportunities for them. And when they submit the artwork to us, we market them to corporates. And we work on a supply chain model. So I didn't see anything which is included for in terms of CSR bill, where social enterprise which is creating impact. I think that should be also brought to the notice that they are also working for the community, and they are also giving livelihood programs. So one thought was on that social enterprise should be included in the CSR bill, or if there is any changes, this is one suggestion. And the other part, the other subsidiary which I represent now also, we are starting up with a skill development program for people with disabilities. So we wish to form a training center, come art gallery, come workshop. And the challenge is we are a startup, so they are asking us documents and the project which is not even ready. So what we are saying is the social enterprise is sustainable for the last 50 years. And what we need to do is the skill development and the training gap which is there amongst the people with disabilities. We need to bridge the gap and see if these people can be self-employed, or somebody can give them some job or order, and then that's how they going to get sustained. And that has been a challenge for us to market our training center and trying to get funds. So we have applied for ATG also. So if somebody can throw light on what would be the sustainable model, are we going on the right track or not? Opening an art gallery, I don't think so. If anybody is aware if there is a art gallery for disabled people in India. So we aspire to start a unique model for them. And a live example is to your left. We have an artist, a beneficiary who's just painting here and developing his skills. So you can always connect with us.
Just one quick thing. In this book, Dare to Dream by Rashmi Bansal, there is an organization which has been flagged there, which is working on the physically handicapped, providing them with resources instead of a whole campus. So you could, I just heard it yesterday, the CD. Now, after another 5 minutes, can we sit down and say, can we construct a project that can actually take off in terms of a 1-year timeline? Because it seems to be prima facie that we have resources here in a host agency that could probably catalyze and help the team here to work with. So Yogesh, since you have raised and since you're from the government and he has spoken about the resources that you have and the opportunity that you can offer, to me it seems that it can be a center point to coordinate a project, both in terms of providing resources, in terms of skills and skill trainers, etc., in terms of opportunity, understanding what are the schemes available by the government itself for us to plug into, and possibly when you have agencies like Livelihood who are looking at coming into the Maharashtra zone, what role could you play to facilitate these kind of opportunities that we have? So after one or two more people who've been waiting to express themselves, could we look at using yes, and then after
from this exercise and we look at it. Very good. Okay.
And, thank you very much. We have been talking about hard skills per se all the while, whereas today, as you see, like he also pointed out that the IT sector is already saturated with all this software technicians and all those things. There's no job further, perhaps. And BPO jobs are, within India, domestic BPOs are only giving about 8,000 and 9,000 rupees salary. Whereas today, you can see a soft skill like Flipkart, Amazon, all come in and they are ready to pay 16,800 rupees for a delivery boy. It can be 8th standard student. So we do require some soft skills. Whether that will per se go beyond another 10 years requirements or not, that is not a question. But today what we all are looking at is to empower people with some financial abilities so they can earn much more. That is more important by imparting skills. So maybe this is the area where we should look at soft skills for those kind of delivery boys and maybe some behavioral traits for youngsters who are 8th standard, 10th standard, 12th standard fail. This is one of my, which I wanted to bring it on the table. Second is, we see a lot of, we have been working as an NGO for disaster management and training of children at the age of, from the class of 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. In various schools, we have trained more than 30,000 children in Navi Mumbai and elsewhere, even in Gujarat. Surat Nuclear Power Corporation called us for training their village panchayat school children also on these aspects. Similarly, in Chennai, some 90 kilometers away from Chennai, some rural college had asked us to do a 420 people BSc BCom students for 4 days training on disaster management awareness program and training, hands-on training. We go wherever it's required. And today we see that last year it was Uttarakhand, today we see Kashmir. Problems are going on. The basic skill sets of which we have been telling the government to incorporate in the studies, as like we study maths, biology, chemistry, science and all this thing, we should have a disaster management, not as a chapter in one of the book, it should be a subject. At whatever levels, maybe the government thinks a 9th standard student is better off or a 12th standard student better off, but we should have this. This is one of the forum where I would like to see, drive it through. And I think Modi will do better in this areas than this thing. Third is we are open to collaborations. We do have the best of the person who with us as a trainer, who else can be, except those who almost faced Kasab when they were all in. He has got a gallantry award. He's retired from the government of Maharashtra. He's with us as a trainer, chief trainer. He has been through the Taj episode and the Oberoi. He has saved 23 lives over a working of 50 hours from the Taj Hotel. And he's with us now as a trainer, chief trainer for this disaster management and mock drill, firefighting, basic. That's why we earn from the corporates. Like someone said, I do subscribe to one of the views, someone expressed that there should be 30-40% of corporate should be represented here. At least they can give us some skill training for them. We can give them a training and earn the money and use it for the skill development of women empowerment programs that we run in the slums and other areas in Bombay. So this is what is my views. Thank you very much.
I would like to share some things here. Now I'm Manjula, and about the training of the trainers, because I have been conducting such trainings very regularly, and there was a manual, because what we actually need is the mindset, the aspirations, and the content part, and then train the trainers properly. And like as Yogesh had mentioned about Professor Malcolm, so he also had, in fact, he had been almost trying to train me to train the trainers, So he has developed a 10 and a half days training manual. Some of you have been receiving mails from me. So I have been sending a lot of contents, there is a grassroots training for the women, which has been, there are Hindi films. Okay, and they are written and directed by Professor Padma Shri Ashok Chakradhar. He's actually a poet. Okay, so Hindi mein LLB, Hindi mein MBA, like the community has to understand, because what is happening, if we link money, somebody was telling, if they're paid properly, automatically there will be a respect. And the best example is our BMC sweepers on the roads. Okay, the very reason that they are paid well, they are graduates who are sweeping our roads here. Okay, so if we start paying the right kind of money to a particular skill, and facility management is another example. People are cleaning and brooming everywhere, in all these malls. Now that we see the cleanliness.
just to add to ma'am,
can she just?
Yeah, you can just.
I just wanted to sum up certain points where we are talking long time skills and the technique, training the technical knowledge. So there is a big gap between the skills and the training, what we are imparting to the client. So first we have to focus more on the skills which they have and the train accordingly, then only it will work. Because most of the time we talk about the skill training and everyone take the skill training only out of 10, 2 people actually do, those who have the inspiration, they go into the job or taking the assignment for the further. So that is more important. So I feel that we have to more focus first the skill what people have and train accordingly, then only our motto will go ahead. What's your name? Jayashree.
Hi everyone, my name is Matt. Sorry I'm late. I just got in from Bangalore this morning. I'm from the National Entrepreneurship Network and the Wadhwani Foundation. And listening to all of this is very interesting because what we do primarily is skills building. And we work fairly exclusively with entrepreneurs, but of all kinds, of all sorts of capital requirements and funding levels. So if anyone is representing those who want to start a business, who are currently building their businesses, we work around the country with entrepreneurs, like I said, at all levels, creating and supporting. Just wanted to put that out there. Thanks for having me.
Can you repeat your name?
Matt, M-A-T-T, Matt.
And you're from?
Yeah, N-E-N. I think one of my colleagues was here this morning, but I missed him. Yeah.
National Entrepreneur Network.
Yeah, just to continue with what ma'am said, as the facility management is now, most of the corporates are outsourcing, all these cleaning services and all those things. And with this new drive of Mr. Modi and, the cleanliness drive, in fact, now we are approached by even the railways per se for, giving services or maybe the cleaning services for the railways. We are in touch with them. And for the construction industry, we again talk that earlier, people used to say that, cleaning is not a sort of a white-collar job or something like that. But I have been an engineer myself, and the technical schools you are talking about, I have been in a technical school. I have studied into De Silva as my school, this thing. And after around 17, 18 years of technical and professional experience, I have joined this facility management company, and I do feel that, right payment, or the people who are, sort of given the clear idea of being a cleaner doesn't mean, or being a housekeeper doesn't reduce his level in the society or something like that. They equally are earning that particular amount of, whatever money they require for their livelihood, and a good amount of money with the minimum wages laws and all those things. And ISS as a company, as an MNC, I have seen that people here have started as a housekeeper, and they have gone to a level of a facility manager or maybe a housekeeping supervisor. So the company also should take care of, developing the skill right from level 0 to maybe level 4 or 5. And to add to that, my personal opinion, I feel that everybody, in this sort of, corporate world or something, everybody looks at what's in it for me. And maybe for my earlier companies like some MNCs like Schneider and L&T, people talk about CSRs and all, but I think in our performance appraisals, there should be something which should contribute to CSR. Otherwise, I don't think it will happen voluntarily. Definitely. I know, I don't mind,
Okay. Yeah. Okay, very quickly now, if we may. Santosh, you've led an organization, you've created value in scale. Yogesh here is a government agency which facilitates funds, grows these opportunities. Several of others here are at different scales in the livelihoods activity. Can we now, Santosh, give you the floor to suggest what would you want to propose to Yogesh and say, Yogesh, I've listened to everything around the table. For 7 years, I've been in this activity. We've grown it to training 10,000 people per year, and I think we can scale it up. And we've heard all the resources that are available here, as well as those who have needs. And is there something that we can put together and say we want to take that forward? Before we do that, people like Reena, Gautam, you all have not spoken. Is there anything, Gautam, आपको कुछ कहना चाहते हैं कि so that we can share it and listen, or anyone else who has not spoken? Ma'am, you have not spoken. So if anyone wants to speak, please speak. And by the way, in addition to the Maharashtra government, we've got BMC. Yeah. And BMC has also great opportunities, because after all, it's not only the potholes, but many more things that we can look at. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I will not comment on that. I just thought I should share about this, one of the schemes that we have. This is the Employment Link Skill Training Program that's been implemented by the BMC from their budget, which is basically a program where, a lot of people were talking about, jobs and, giving, having a salary to the end of like skill training to make it. So this is a program for that precisely, which is where, again, women, this is specifically for, only for women from the gender budget. So women between 18 to 31 years of age, are mobilized from, low-income families, and where skill training is provided to them in 4 sectors, which is retail, computers, hospitality, and lifestyle, which is basically your spas and beauty parlors, etc. The program is such that we've empaneled certain agencies to provide this training to the women. So, for example, in lifestyle, we've empaneled Kaya, where they will, we will send them the candidates, they'll provide the training. But the condition in this whole thing is that we will pay for the training, where the budget allocation per candidate is a maximum of rupees 10,000 per women, and we will pay this training, the cost of the training of the candidate, provided that the agency places the candidate with and we've given them certain conditions for this placement, that it should be a job that at least pays a minimum amount of this thing and have these kind of benefits. And only then that the agency is paid per candidate. Now, because I work closely with the department that implements this program, one of the challenges that we faced is that there's a huge demand for the computers sector, but when it comes to things like retail, even lifestyle, one would think that, women would be interested in that, and also hospitality. Mobilization of candidates in these 3 sectors has been quite challenging. And even though the scheme is there, since there are a lot of experts here, if someone can probably point out why, a scheme like this would, not get the response that one would expect that it should get. Is it because, maybe people aren't aware of this program, that, it exists? That's one thing that I feel. And we are working, trying to address that aspect of it, But, I thought I should share about this program and also get some feedback.
Maybe the challenges for the women's, the timings of the job is a main challenge for them, because any computer jobs or anything 9 to 5 jobs, and people want to be very comfortable, and even from the family they will support if they are doing during the limited period. But hospitality industry, they might require the late night job or in the shift duties or whatever. So that could be some challenges for, and your training is only for the women's. So I feel that
that is of course an allocation from the gender budget, so that limits it. Now what we try to do under the CSR because the CSR cell is a separate, it's basically a facilitating platform created in the BMC to facilitate any kind of partnerships between organizations who will implement the project at the ground level. The BMC that will anchor the project, in terms of access, and the corporate that will be funding the project. So, we understand that, a lot, there are, we're limited to providing this program only to women,
But under CSR, we've also done the same initiative where we've called it again employment linked training, and so that's open to both men and women candidates. So, but even for that, while there are companies, for example, Godrej, that gives AC refrigeration, training, and then they say that there will be an opportunity for, the candidates that undergo these training to get employed with Godrej. But even for that, in terms of mobilizing the candidates to go for that is a challenge. So if there are organizations that, can send candidates, we'll be happy to either put them through if it's for women, then through the government budget. If it's not, then to put them in touch with corporates that do give, trainings. Sorry? If it won't qualify under the, of course, the gender budget, because if they're outside the Greater Bombay limits, there's a limit. We can't expend the budget. Yeah, definitely, because it doesn't fall within this thing. But if we can put you in touch with someone who's doing it, we'll be happy to do that. No, in the employment linked training, the role of the corporate is to give the in-house training, because a lot of our companies, like for example, Reliance Fresh, or that may be coming to a different thing, but lots of other organizations that are in in this either FMCG or any other skill training or this thing, that they can keep train the candidates and also subsequently consider them for employment. You can just get in touch with me, or on the website you can look.
So offline?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Can we give the floor on to Santosh? Reena and Gautam, you want to say something before?
I thought I'll just introduce hello, I'm Reema. I'm actually an architect, and me and my friend have just started this project on ashram schools. This is located in Dahanu, and there's a trust, Shikshan Prasarak Mandal, which basically takes care, supports the school financially through the government. Like the government currently gives like 950 rupees per month for the students, but as such the infrastructure is also not up to the mark, and in general there are issues with health and all these other things. And so we are actually, as architects, we'll of course be looking at infrastructure and how we can improve that, but at the same time we realize that there's a lot of improvement required in education itself, and also we are looking at possibilities of skill development, and how, like generally what happens is they study till 10th or something and then they drop out, and the parents are mostly like into labor and construction industry, so they either follow that. So the scope, how we can widen the scope for them. So there's one way we're trying to see how we can link it up with the urban center Mumbai itself, and also if we can develop a kind of community of women or something that they can start their own business. Like they're actually the tribal community of Varli community, so they have those skills. They also have skills with cane, so we are just thinking how we can tap into that and develop that along with education, along with infrastructure. So we've just begun. So I was actually just listening to you all, and I was thinking, okay, yeah, I could check this up. So it'll be nice if, we can find collaborators, I guess.
Well, Reema, specifically to what you just said, the thing is I see a lot of people talking about, this is a question from my end, and then I'll come over to what you said. I'm just trying to understand the difference between skill development and specific training about a particular job. Like for example, before I quit my job, I was working with a high commission of a certain country. And then what I realized is after 3 years of working, all I had or all I knew is how to stamp visas and send people to New Zealand, or rather, yeah. So I'm sorry. The idea, however, is to understand that skill development is, according to my understanding, skill development shall make a person self-dependent. And if we talk about specific, or rather trainings which lead a person to a specific kind of a job, then that is not skill development, it is training. That's what that's what my understanding says, and please correct me if I'm wrong. I would really appreciate in this forum, since people here are people those who are into positions which they can use to influence these kind of discussions that are happening around the world. Kindly understand that we can stop this thing which is going wrong. There is a cycle. Corporations are hiring people, and there is a cycle. Those people work for the corporations, and the wealth is collecting in one end of the world, and the other end is just generating that wealth. That is happening because of the jobs, is what my understanding says. If everyone would start working for themselves, and I understand what you just said, that 90% of us are workers, and then we want everybody to start their own entrepreneurship thing. But then that is what we want to change, right? If we are workers and we want more workers, then this will never change. This will just keep going in that same linear direction, where money or wealth from one end of the world will keep collecting on the other end of the world. The equation will remain imbalanced. So in order for us to be able to distribute that wealth nicely, we will need to create entrepreneurs rather than employees. That's what my little understanding says. Secondly, to what you said, Rima, we do run programs. I come from Sakshat. It's the youth wing of the International Side of Krishna Consciousness. So what we do is we train people on creating valuables. Let's say valuables, like if it's newspaper, which is 7 rupees a kilo from a Raddiwala, you can take that newspaper and convert it into paper weaved baskets. So, and those are sturdy baskets, and you can sell one for like 100 rupees or 50 rupees, like that. So if you have people, we'll be more than happy to train them into many other things. We can tell them how to make dhoop with cow dung and all those kind of things. So just letting you know.
I need not to tell you, already been to villages and poors. Especially I will take context of Jharkhand, a Naxal district in Jharkhand. You just stay with that boy for 2 days. He is so lost in his own village, in his own thoughts, he doesn't know what to do. So at least, again, this is one more marketing kind of, or maybe which I used to use. This is one opportunity for him to come out of that for a year. See the world. Maybe there were cases, a welder came to me, sir, I want to go to hotel. I don't like welding. Perfectly fine. Nobody is making them bonded labors. Lifetime you are a welder now. It is his choice that he came for a training, he went for a job, he didn't like, he came back. Absolutely fine. Only thing is, when there were cases, the parents are approaching us, sir, you told us training will be of 2 months. Now it is already 2 months, 10 days. So we are finding it difficult to survive. Because those 2 months, they are not treating as a training period. For them, it's a wage losses for the household. So this is the reality, and that's why I'm saying 1 year, job, nothing else. 1 year, that's all. Let him get self-realization. People are maybe advising him. He sees the world, what happens in Chennai, how is Bangalore, what is in Mumbai, and let him go back to his own village. Ultimately, he is a Jharkhandi boy. He belongs to his own village. That is his citizenship. Nobody can take it out from him.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I will, as you asked me to just discuss about the collaboration. See, first thing is, let me just give you the gravity of the situation which currently Pipal Tree is going through. Pipal Tree, we have been getting so much pushed by the customer that customers are asking us to take more and more orders. Okay, I understand there is one lady which is from Kalpataru. Just a month back, I got a call from Kalpataru asking me to take construction of 5 buildings in Indore. Okay, and I unfortunately I had to say no. I said sorry, I don't have workforce, and I can't develop that much workforce because I have so many projects which I have already taken, which I am trying to meet the demand. Just Monday, I was in Bihar and I have signed a MOU saying that I can, from the labor department, and they can if they can mobilize 1 lakh people per annum, I can deploy all of them on my projects. I just signed it on Monday with the minister and secretary in Bihar. Okay, so what I am saying is the gravity is such that people, construction companies are chasing us to take the projects, but still we are not able to take them because of the shortage of the people. Second thing which I just want to add to it is mainly from the as the BMC perspective. Okay, certainly not from ladies. We certainly see in Mumbai that most of the ladies from the poor background, they are more interested in doing the maid servant job where they can earn the decent money and the flexibility. But from the youth, we have been thinking that in Mumbai, there are so many youths who are unemployed and we have not been able to do anything. While we are doing many projects in Mumbai, not for the construction, but for finishing business, like with Lodhas and with Ashport and many other companies where we are doing plumbing, painting and tiling work. So we started a pilot, and we are seeing a lot of response from the Maharashtrian boys. Surprisingly, we never thought Maharashtrians would be interested in this type of jobs, which is plumbing, painting, tiling. And in Ghatkopar now we are training around 100 boys, and all of them will be deployed in our projects around that. So we see decent response from the Maharashtrians for this from the Mumbai. And just to again add to it, Mr. Yogesh, is we are just started is the project with Tata Housing in Boisar. Okay, it's the low cost budget housing, Boisar phase 2. And we need to, if we want, I mean, just to put it in the word of MD of Tata Housing, if we want, they are willing to give us all the buildings for construction. Okay. So, and there will be more than 100 buildings. We won't be able to take it because in Ahmedabad also we have taken only 5. We can't do more than that because of the shortage. Our plan always will be to train people, and this is what I am just saying, to train people in the surrounding area like Thane, Raigad and other areas near Boisar, and try to give them jobs in that side. Okay. Obviously, we'll be having our people from Bihar, UP and other states also, because we don't differentiate between states. For us, everyone is same. So, but there is a lot of opportunity for us to train people, and certainly we would like to explore that with MSRM, what we can do. Obviously, I understand elections are nearby and then you might be having some constraints now, but we are certainly yes. Certainly, we are very much open to discuss that, and for specific reason is now, we are finding some of the people from the Thana district. I am talking about the district. Okay, Thana and Palghar district villages, they are coming to us. In fact, some of them are working in Hyderabad, so they are coming to us again in the finishing business, and they are working in Hyderabad. So we can clearly see there is a demand, and people are interested from that poor area to work here. So,
just to take up from where Santosh left, where he says he has a demand and even a lakh students or trainees are available for training. And I am distinguishing the training from skills. Okay?
Yes.
So he has a need for this. Any of the groups out here who feel they want to plug into the system,
yes, right.
we can look at that. Yes, Santosh?
Yes, you are right.
I do not know whether Santosh is looking at a particular business model or he's looking at a co-franchising model or a so-and-so to support entrepreneurs to trickle down the whole model so that instead of one people tree, we have multiple trees in the orchard.
Yes.
Is something that one could explore. Right? Rajiv, do you want to add anything at this moment? No? Okay. So that's the training part of it. Several other people have spoken about skill sets that they need developed simultaneously. And this model is a training model. Is there anybody who, through your organization and BMC, taking that forward? Are there people who want to collaborate and say, let's look at skill-based projects? Because there are several people around the table who have resources to offer, and some have needs. So you also, I presume, can facilitate the skill-based training system. So is there anyone here who wants to flag anything that's one thing which I would like to flag?
See, since we are into livelihood trainings, I find that 92% jobs are basically in unorganized sector. And what we are talking here most of the time is about the organized sector. Yeah, because it's easy to get a list of employers, potential employers, and send the candidates there. Candidates may not be comfortable there because the person has to come from rural areas to get the job. And these students are in rural areas who are not ready to come to the urban areas. So the challenge remains that how to list down the potential employers in unorganized sector, so that we can place the students within 25 to 30 kilometers radius of their house, and they can go and join, and maybe they earn less. The first 1 year they may earn 5,000 rupees, 4,000 rupees, 3,000 rupees. Yeah, hello. But see, this 3,000 rupees salary also will be very good for them. If they are within 30 kilometers of their house, they will be happy with this 3,000 rupees, 4,000 rupees salaries. And after 1 year, 2 years of experience and having accumulated some savings, they may feel like moving out. The challenge is that in this forum, can we have some solution to this problem where we get a list of these potential employers from the unorganized sector? That is the biggest challenge we face as of today. So we spend a lot of money in getting these employers, and they treat us, okay, another placement agency, and why are you coming and all that. So they don't feel that we are NGO doing some favor, or we are providing skills to them, and then we are trying to employ them. So that's the biggest challenge as of today. Yeah, we are working with them. From Yuva Parivartan.
There it is. Okay. We have an extensive network of ecosystem partners all around the country that work in various industries, and we're in the education sector as well. We're trying to reach out to students as well. This would be something that would be very good for us to talk about because we're trying to expand our it's a broad base of operations to, outside of the IIM, IIT, and the higher level learnings to reach out to those who don't have. I'd put it as low-hanging fruit. They already have the access to a higher order education. They're going to find us more easily. So we also have mentoring networks. We have a wide variety of tools at our disposal. I'd say if you are interested in anything that I'm saying, I'm being very vague, find me, talk to me, and we could speak more specifically, either here or offline.
Yep. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. See, we are from Project HINA, India's first, so as to say, CSR network that we have created. So basically, it's an entire ecosystem that we are trying to build, connecting the NGOs, the decision makers at the corporate CSR teams, individual volunteers, and colleges. So far, without any major outreach programs or marketing, or even television advertising, we have been able to gather more than 2,000 volunteers, do more than 6,000 hours of volunteering, and already have a lot of corporates on board. So if the requirement still does exist, where you have a lot of skilled people with you, or you want to get connected with skilled people, Project HINA can offer that entire platform to you, where it will be easy for the corporates to actually discover all the skills that are available in the market, or also to gauge the requirement of skill development that a particular sector. There are these, for example, 20 NGOs which are trying to train people in the scale of constructing buildings or painting walls or doing all the brickwork. So that kind of resource is available in the particular area. So we have built this ecosystem, and we would be more than happy if people from this room join the network and help us in the movement taking it forward. My name is Gaurav, and the project is projecthina.com. The site is live, you can check it out.
I'm Mayuri, and I'm the one who's working for Kalpataru. And before this, I was working for Gitanjali Gems. This was about, I wanted to share an experience with you guys about my visiting VRC, Vocational Rehabilitation Center. And while I was speaking to the director, he suggested that we wanted to take people for training and employ them with us and stuff. So he suggested for a mere 4,000-5,000 rupees salary, a person from Chembur would not travel all the way to your office and be trained, and he would rather survive on the pension that he gets from the government rather than moving out of his home. That was one. Two was people still in such institutions, so the government institutions, are still being trained on things like lunas, which are long obsolete. So if we are talking of skill development and vocational training, let us do something which is more today than something like a luna.
I think we also need to look at a model which is little different from the way we have always been looking at skills. I'll specifically quote two examples. One was at Tata Chemicals Babrala. That's a remote unit. It's a remote unit, and the specific requirement was how do you really create that transport ecosystem. Was not my idea. Someone took that challenge, and local youths were mobilized. They were trained. They were made. There was a bank leakage that happened. Now, approximately 18% transport happens through this transport samiti. All youths are owners of these trucks, as well as they are now a good businessman. They are earning decent money as well as giving back to the business also. That's one model. Second is also there's something called as L&T Construction Skills Training Institute. You must have heard about that. The challenge at Tata Chemicals Mithapur was you're really not having the civil contractors there because it's a remote location again. Now again picking up youth, forming a group, making them contractors, not again only a laborer or a semi-skilled labor. That really helped. My submission is we have to think beyond the normal low-hanging fruit kind of a concept. You really have to think, how do you really make them as a vendor? How do you make them as a contractor? And how do you really bring them at the upper ladder of the society? I think then we can really play some constructive role. Else it's just kind of one more outsourcing job, to my understanding.
I'll just take a second to share, what he just said. Like Fab India is the fabulous example of this. They have the inclusive capitalism. Almost, 49% of the shares are owned by 17 companies of the artisans. So that's the kind of model we need to have.
Our experience when we are working in the rural parts of Thane district, when we are constructing the rainwater harvesting structures, when you said that there is easy to, if you're hiring a job assignment as a contractor, so we have the villages, they're wanting to work as a contractor but not as a skilled labor or the unskilled labor. Why? Because they can siphon lots of money. So, and we do not get the quality of the work. So, but people want where they have some benefits, profits, they want to see. So, how we can tackle this issue?
I have one point to just share, okay, especially from making people contractor. And you had something, jobs, and you said, somehow what we have seen in construction industry is, when we used to go previously, and one of the MD of the big, large construction company, I won't name, okay, very well-known company, he said that, Santosh, you don't provide us because we were previously asking them to give them the jobs, right, 7 years back. And he says, Santosh, you don't give me the people who I will employ because I can't take them on my payroll. Rather, you give me the contractor. Okay. And, I thought how generous this person is. And eventually, I have realized when I started working with these construction companies, they want contractors so that they can exploit them. Okay. Then they can keep their payment pending. Okay. They don't pay their money on time. Then the material is not available. Still, they will say, I am paying you on item rate. Only if you complete the work, then I will pay you. And the sole motive behind having more contractor is not to really create the successful entrepreneur, but to really exploit them. Okay. And I was shocked by that. And that's when we said, okay, we will become contractor because we have the muscle power. We will develop our muscle power to fight with them. And I'm telling you, in some of the contractors, even in Rajasthan and other parts, sometimes we also got cheated with large companies where the payments got stuck. But we were tough enough to even go to the courts, okay, and fight with them so that we can get the payment, even go to the ROC to say that blacklist them so that we can get the payment. And that's why we developed our contractors, as you say, entrepreneur. We developed our students after getting 3 years of experience. We say, if you don't want to become a contractor, I will give you the work, okay. I will take the responsibility of the payment, but you have to take care of the social well-being of your people who I will be providing you, okay. Making a contractor on day one, okay, if someone is claiming that they can make an entrepreneur in day one, okay, then we are fooling ourselves. We are just killing the poor, okay. We have seen the contractor from BR doing suicide because their lakhs of rupees are already stuck with the construction companies. So I'm just sharing from the construction industry. I certainly accept the Fab India or even I think rugs in the Jaipur rugs. Okay, those are the different models. I'm talking. Yeah, right. But I can share my experience from construction. See, I'm not a civil engineer. I am really a computer engineer. But I can just tell you from in 7 years what I have seen in this industry. This industry is pathetic. Okay, the systems are bad. This is the worst industry one should be there. I am extremely sorry, madam. Okay, but I am saying from the social values. Okay, and lot needs to be done. We have to be very careful when we talk about contracting.
Rupali. Sorry, go ahead.
Hi, a lot of us here talked about the supply and demand issues, right? Right from the gentleman here who mentioned that he know people who have skills in working with bamboos, but don't know the nodal agency where from where the demand can come from. And similarly, Santosh sir said that he has a capacity to train in 1 lakh people and provide jobs, but again, finding it difficult to mobilize the resources, right? So definitely there is a demand and there is a supply, but the matching is getting very difficult. And I have been working on a project, and it's at a very, very nascent stage, to use technology to solve this issue in India. And basically what I'm trying to do is to use Google Earth, wherein both the demand and supply can be mapped. And it has to be an open source model if we want to do at national level, right? So if we use Google Earth and start mapping, for example, if he works in some remote area wherein he knows there is this skill available and map it there that, okay, at this point I have this skill. While when there is a demand at some point and there exists a nodal agency, they mark themselves as well on the map. And then we have this facility to search. And this is nothing new, right? This exists. For example, if you guys have used housing.com, which is the latest thing in the market, wherein you can search for flats, right? It's as simple as that, or any Google Maps. So it's a free tech. Google Earth is free. The technology is free. It's all about implementing it. And I don't know if it can be done on the national level, but it requires a lot of resources to even try this idea out. So if anybody would be interested in collaborating and trying this out, I would be happy to work with them. And yeah, if I can just add a little bit. So I started my research at a very small level, that I was working in slums in Mumbai, and exactly to the point which you mentioned, I started trainings in hospitality and healthcare sector and found it very difficult to mobilize people. And while I talked to huge players in livelihood sector, they said this is a very metro kind of problem wherein people don't want to work for salaries less than 10,000, as she was saying from her Kalpataru experience, that people want 10,000 to 15,000 salary in Mumbai, while the migrating population might work for a salary of 5,000 as well. So when I was doing that, I did a very in-depth research in 3 slums at one point of time to understand how the aspirations were different in each of the slums and what were the factors which were driving it. So there were factors like people who were the population which was migrating from Rajasthan, they were not ready to take up the jobs, while the population which were migrating from interiors of Maharashtra district itself were ready to take up any kind of job. So there were factors which were influencing their decisions. They were not crazy to say that, no, we don't have any food, but still will not work. There were some factors, and if we can analyze these factors and see the trends and then map the population, and each of us, each of the people who are working in local areas put up their data out there, probably we can figure it out and do the demand-supply matching. Yeah. Yeah.
surveys, which I found relatively useful in terms of designing for the future or designing what courses to choose. You could have that at district level. You could collaborate with companies and kind of get that information, sharing, because that is a real good enabler for anybody. If you have clear data, it helps you take decisions, it helps you design courses, it helps you overall plan your interventions much better. So if the government could really take a lead in that.
Maybe say 3 years back. Okay. So your thing will help it to make it updated, like day-to-day basis. So I think that is where the strength will be there, because doing district block-wise exercise is already, that is a step number 1 for us. We do a skill gap analysis. Okay, in fact, more than us, sir is doing it, because government is generally trying to offload all problematic things. And on the other side, employers are also trying to do same thing. So I can understand, because I was in the same shoes for a long time. So I think it's an excellent idea. We'll see how to take it further here.
Rupali. Rupali, now is IDO Bro. The buck stops with you, or starts with you, in terms of not just closing this up, but the next steps ahead. So we have seen an expression of need, an expression of resources that are available. We have seen that there are agencies here that can host and lead a collaboration. Right. And there are skill sets available. There are people who can help with the entrepreneurship side and to support it in terms of training, facilities, and resources. So I think now in terms of an IDO Bro, and that would be, I mean, I think we can check it out, but I think that would be something that IDO Bro can now facilitate and catalyze, where we pick up some projects and then we take it through. And I'm sure, looking at the response that we've had here, you could anticipate quite an active process that goes on. So if we could find a mechanism to collaborate through some group and take this forward.
Yeah, so we are going to make a report on this, and it'll be shared on the social media. Yes, I would like to have your feedbacks as well. Very specific. Please make sure that you give your email addresses proper, so that we'll, and yes, basically whatever you discuss now, there are chances of collaboration. I can see that. You please make sure that you meet at the chat tables, have around, and please keep us in the loop. So we are aware, and next time we really have something concrete, we need not go to people, please come to RISE, you'll have a great opportunity and collaboration. Rather, people asking us, okay, please, if I can, if there is a place there to collaborate. That's what we intend to do. Yes, yeah, definitely, we can do that. Yes, and yes, we are also mentioned in the feedback form, how would you like to be communicated? People are not okay with mails, maybe they're okay with LinkedIn, maybe they're okay with WhatsApp. Earlier we have thought of making a group for skill development livelihood for the expert, but eventually it did not happen. Some of the other people were traveling, and we had 8 experts for this group, but I mean, eventually only 3 or 4 had turned up. Some personal reasons, some are outstation. So, yes, you can. So, yes, I'm just distributing the feedback forms, and Mr. Santosh is here. People who want to really collaborate, please go ahead and have your B2B meetings and do a good collaboration. That's what we intend to do.